The grand lobby of the Silver Crest Hotel shimmered beneath rows of crystal chandeliers, their light reflecting across the spotless marble floor. Guests rolled their luggage quietly while a soft instrumental melody played in the background. It was the kind of place where every detail mattered, and Daniel Hayes made sure of it. At 36, Daniel carried himself with the calm confidence of someone who had survived life's hardest storms. 3 years earlier, his world had collapsed when his wife passed away after a sudden illness, leaving him to raise their 7-year-old son, Leo, alone. Overnight, he had learned how to braid messy hair before school, cook simple dinners that Leo actually liked, and still show up at the hotel each morning ready to lead dozens of employees. Fatherhood had softened him. Loss had strengthened him. That morning, like every other, began with Leo's cheerful voice. "Dad, you promised you'd sit in the front row today," Leo reminded him while struggling to button his tiny blazer for the school play. Daniel crouched down and helped him. "Front row." Loudest applause. "I wouldn't miss it." Leo grinned. "You're the best." Those words stayed with Daniel as he drove to the hotel. No matter how heavy work became, being a father always came first. By late morning, however, the peaceful rhythm of the hotel was shattered. A sharp voice echoed across the lobby. "This is unacceptable." Guests turned. A young receptionist stood frozen behind the counter while a tall woman in a navy suit glared at her with visible frustration. Victoria Cole, the hotel's newly appointed general manager. Daniel had hired her just 2 weeks earlier after reviewing an extraordinary track record. She had rescued failing luxury hotels and turned them into profitable landmarks. Her reputation described her as decisive, brilliant, and relentless. But no report had mentioned how intense she could be in person. "The VIP suite should have been ready an hour ago," Victoria continued, her tone cutting through the air. "Do you understand what kind of impression this creates?" I'm sorry, ma'am," the receptionist stammered. "Housekeeping found a maintenance issue and..." "Excuses don't fix problems." Daniel stepped forward before the tension grew worse. "Victoria," he said gently, "let's talk in my office." She turned toward him, clearly irritated. "This hotel is running on outdated coordination. I sent improvement plans days ago. And we're reviewing them," Daniel replied calmly. "But we don't need to alarm our guests." His steady voice only seemed to fuel her frustration. "You're too relaxed about this," she said. "Hospitality demands urgency." "Urgency doesn't require volume," Daniel answered. Several guests pretended not to watch, though their curious glances said otherwise. "Let's lower our voices," he added. In that instant, driven by stress, embarrassment, and unchecked anger, Victoria lifted her hand and slapped him. The sound rang across the lobby. Everything stopped. A suitcase tipped over. Someone gasped. Daniel remained perfectly still. A faint redness appeared on his cheek, yet his expression didn't change. Instead of reacting, he slowly drew in a breath. Victoria's eyes widened as reality caught up with her. I didn't mean to." Daniel raised a hand slightly, not in defense, but in quiet control. "Everyone," he said to the staff, his voice composed, "please continue your work. Let's keep the lobby welcoming." His calm authority dissolved the paralysis. People returned to their stations, though the shock lingered. Without another word, Daniel walked toward his office. After a brief hesitation, Victoria followed. Inside, the silence felt heavier than the lobby's tension. Daniel closed the door softly. For a moment, neither spoke. "I crossed a line," Victoria finally admitted. "There's no justification for that." "You're correct," Daniel said simply. He neither raised his voice nor displayed anger, and somehow, that made her feel worse. Her eyes wandered across the office until they landed on a colorful drawing taped beside his desk. It showed a tall building beneath a bright yellow sun. At the top, written in uneven crayon, were the words, "My Dad's Hotel." "You have a child?" she asked, her tone quieter now. "A son," Daniel replied. "He thinks this place is magical."